Aloha Jivas! Welcome to another reading of Bhagavad Gita as it is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad. We are reading chapter 3, Karma Yoga, and starting with verse 13. Yagya shishta shinaha santo muchyante sarva kilvishahi bunjote te tvagam papa ye panchanthyatma karanat. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others, who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment, verily eat only sin. Purport. The devotees of the Supreme Lord, or the persons who are in Krishna consciousness, are called santas, and they are always in love with the Lord, as it is described in the Brahma Samhita. Premanjana judita bhakti vilochanena santaha sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. The santas, being always in a compact of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the giver of all pleasures, or Mukunda, the giver of liberation, or Krishna, the all-attractive person, cannot accept anything without first offering it to the Supreme Person. Therefore, such devotees always perform yagyas and different modes of devotional service, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, etc. And these performances of yagyas keep them always aloof from all kinds of contamination of sinful association in the material world. Okay, let's see if I can translate that. Shravanam is hearing. Kirtanam is singing. Smaranam is remembering, and Archanam is offering fire. Okay, so basically people that are always absorbed in some sort of devotional type of acts, spiritual things, and not material things. Okay, so on these performances of yagyas keep them always aloof from all kinds of contamination of sinful association in the material world. Others, who prepare food for self or sense gratification, are not only thieves, but are also the eaters of all kinds of sins. How can a person be happy if he is both a thief and sinful? It is not possible. Therefore, in order for people to become happy in all respects, they must be taught to perform the easy process of Sankirtan Yagya and full Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there can be no peace or happiness in the world. Remember, Sankirtan is the devotional chanting of the Lord's names. Text 14. Anad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadana sambhavaha yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagyaha karma samudbhavaha. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rain. Rains are produced by performance of yagya or sacrifice, and yagya is born of prescribed duties. Purport. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great commentator on the Bhagavad Gita, writes as follows. Ye indradyanga taya vastitam yagyam sarvashvaram vishnam abhyarchya tachasham ashnanti tena tadeha yantram sampadayanti te santaha sarveshvarayasya bhaktaha sarva kilvisayar anadi kala vivriddhar atmanubhava pratibandhakair ki lai papayer vimuchante. The Supreme Lord, who is known as the Yagya Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all demigods who serve him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, etc. are appointed officers who manage material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods, who are different limbs of the Lord, are also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the devotees of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat a process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection, and one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. On the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful action, and this prepares the next body to resemble hogs and dogs, to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack, whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. Food grains or vegetables are factually eatables. The human being eats different kinds of food grains, vegetables, fruits, etc., and the animals eat the refuse of the food grains and vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat the animals. Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the field and not on the production of big factories. The field production is due to sufficient rain from the sky, and such rains are controlled by demigods like Indra, sun, moon, etc., and they are all servants of the Lord. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is the law of nature. Yajna, specifically the Sankirtan Yajna, prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from the scarcity of food supply. So, we've talked a little bit before about, how devotees always offer food first to Krishna, and then it's considered prasadam. It's like sanctified food. If you're a Catholic, you can sort of relate to this, like when you go to Mass and the priest offers the bread, and then that bread becomes sanctified, and then when you eat that, that's like a sacrament, right, in the Catholic Church. It's similar in concept. When you offer something to God first, it becomes sanctified in a way that it purifies you. It's not incurring karma. But when it comes to food, it's purifying your body on all the levels of your body, the physical body, the emotional and spiritual and energy bodies that, we consist of. And all of our past karma also, it says here, is like vanquished. And it's not a difficult thing to do. And we're going to get a little bit more into that, in the Gita, because really you can't just offer anything to God, because like we read, just recently here, it's like certain things, like there's certain demigods that are recommended, or the suitable personality to offer, to make your offering to. So like if you're a meat eater, because that requires the killing of a higher intelligent compared to a plant, because a plant also has a soul, believe it or not, so it's just like the level of consciousness that a living entity has increases, from an amoeba, or like, a single cell bacteria, a plant, compared to, the highest, level of consciousness of being a human, all the variations in between. But killing an animal, and especially a cow, which is, the worst of the killing of animals to do, you don't want to offer that to the Lord himself directly, but like to Kali, that's something that, if you're gonna do that, I guess that's what it says here, recommended to her. But because all of those demigods are limbs of Krishna himself, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we, or I, as a Hare Krishna devotee, our aim is to have a direct personal relationship with that personality of Godhead, male, female, Radha, Krishna, the divine couple, directly. So, oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, a personal anecdote about eating prasadam is, when I lived in India and all I ate was prasadam, because, living in like the Western society, I'm like, I don't claim to be like a perfect devotee. I'm like, obviously just trying my best and remembering, but I don't always remember to offer everything, and not everything is recommended for offering that I eat, such as, like garlic or whatever, which is in some foods I eat, but I think we're going to get into that later. Anyway, what I was going to say is that my experience from eating purely and only prasadam was that I felt so clean that this is gonna, like, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but like when I passed gas, there was like no smell ever. Like, sometimes, I mean, not every time I pass gas has a smell, but most times it does, like everybody else, right? But like when I was strictly prasadam, it was like so pure that I never experienced that. And it was like to the point where it's like, obviously I noticed, like, and that was what, I attributed it to, because it's unusual. But I thought that was really cool, and evidence of the power of prasadam. And that's where I'm going to end there. So thank you for listening again, and I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Hare Krishna.